Welcome to the second installment of Joliet History Plain and Simple, brought to you from the downtown Joliet Public Library. Today's topic, Joliet schools. We're focusing on Joliet grade schools K through 8, that means elementary and junior high schools. There are so many different types of schools in Joliet. I had to break it down to that in order to fit it into our time allotment. I'll begin by saying that Joliet was first divided into wards. So each ward had a school. There were 6 wards. So at this time, schools were named by their wards. First ward school, second ward school. The trend seemed to change so that schools were named after the streets they were on. And then later, many schools were named after people. So let's move on to our presentation, Joliet Schools. I'm your host, Anneta Driling, Local History Librarian at the Joliet Public Library. And I want to start here with Babylon School. Don't really know too much about Babylon. It was out near Mills Road. There's not much of a history on it. This is the only picture that I've ever seen of it. And I have been told that there were actually 2 of them that were side by side. But as you'll see in this picture, it only looks like there's one building out on Rowell and Manhattan roads. It was also suggested that it instead of being torn down at this location, they changed it into a church. But I have no information to actually verify it, but this would be the church building that would stand at that location. Now, Babylon School was replaced by another school that was built on Rowell Avenue later, and we'll cover that later in our discussion. Broadway School obviously was on Broadway, and it was one of those schools that were named for the street that it was on. And then there was a Central High School. Now, I know I said that we were going to talk about K through 8 schools, but I included Central High School, which was actually the very first high school before Joliet Township High School Central Campus was thought of. This later became a junior high, according to the records that I've seen. And this was in downtown Joliet. Many of you would recognize the area today because it's where the county building is. But it was on Webster and Chicago Street. And let's go to Cunningham School, which is the school in my own neighborhood. It was built in 1937 in a monolithic concrete kind of construction, which was the first of its kind in this area. Cunningham replaces a school that we'll talk about later that was destroyed by fire. And now let's move on to T.E. Culbertson, which is actually one of those schools that was named after someone. And then we'll move on to Dirksen Junior High School. This is a school that is off of Stryker Avenue, and it is a junior high school. And then we'll move on to an Eastern Avenue school, which is no longer in existence. It was built in 1863 and torn down in 1916, but it was on Eastern Avenue, and it was actually a 3-story school. Eisenhower Academy, which is over in the Ingalls Park area. And then we've got Farragut School. This is the old Farragut School, located in the same place, over in the Cathedral area. And let's see the new Farragut. Farragut, as I'm told, also served as a junior high for a period of time. And from the front, you can't really see how large it is, but this is the back part of the school, just to show you how large it was. All right, and here's Forest Park Individual Education School. Actually, Forest Park started off being just Forest Park School. And let's move on to Gompers Junior High. Have to catch up here with my notes. This is, once again, Gompers Junior High. I have more than one picture of it in my notes. This picture is actually of the building in the background. I have no idea who the gentleman in the picture is, but the building in the background, of course, is Hickory Street School on Hickory Street. It also served as the home to the American Legion Post 1080 after it was a school, and it suffered damages by fire and then was removed from the area. And today it's a park. And here's Hufford Junior High School, right on Larkin Avenue. And there's another picture of Hufford Junior High. And here's Joliet Street School, which no longer exists, but it was on South Joliet Street, not too far from where the library is located. And here's Eliza Kelly School. The building is still there, but Eliza Kelly is no longer in operation. It is on East McDonough Street. And then we have Lincoln School. Lincoln School is across the street from where Sater Sanchez School is now. And it is being used by the school district for as part of the school district for learning. And then we'll go to Logan School. You notice that all of these schools, not all of the schools, but many of the schools look the same. They look like they're built with the same materials because that's what was available. You'll also notice that many of these schools look really large, but you also have to understand that in these basement areas, um, they would be um, storing coal. And so I'm going to skip this for a time and go to Longfellow School. And this is Longfellow School. And I just love the architecture of this school. It looks like a couple of houses. And before it was Longfellow School, it was Grover Street School, and that's what I have here in this text from a document that was created by the Will County Historical Society right around 1969. It was previously Grover Street School, and there were 100 pupils here. And that once again is Longfellow. And this is F.E. Marsh School. And I believe this is the one that used to be on Cass Street. Right in front of where Joliet Central was. And they tore that down and added on to Joliet Central. And this is A.O. Marshall. Once again, looks really, really large and very similar to the finishes of other schools. This is Marycrest School. It's now used as an early learning institution, and it's in off McDonough Street, off West McDonough Street, very close to where the Walmart is now, in the Marycrest neighborhood. Now here's Moran Street School. And this school was located, on Moran Street. It was destroyed by fire, and this is the school that Cunningham Elementary replaced. And this one was destroyed by fire in 1936. Now this is Park School. This is a picture of when it was being remodeled. It was having some additions put on it. It celebrated its 100th birthday in 1983. I do not believe that today it is operational. This is a picture I actually took yesterday of Pershing School. Pershing School is on Midland Avenue. Very nice school. Looks pretty modern. And this is Pleasant Street School. And up until yesterday, I didn't have a picture of it, just this drawing. It was on Pleasant Street, which would be um, on the south side, in the neighborhood that's on the south side of Jefferson Street now. Yesterday, I did find a picture, but didn't have time to put it into this presentation, but it looks just exactly like this drawing. Take a little break in the presentation here to find my notes. This is Reedswood School. Reedswood School is now being used by the United Cerebral Palsy Group. And this is Wren School, which is no longer a school. This is on Morris Street. It is being used by a church group now. Actually, UCP, after Wren School closed, the students that went to Wren then went to Reedswood. This building was then rented by the church, and after UCP had used the Wren School as their offices, UCP moved to Reedswood School. So this was the school. It was originally an elementary school, was then used as a UCP, a United of Cerebral Palsy school. Then that school went to Reedswood, and this then became the church. There's another picture of Reedswood. Ridgewood School was, strangely enough, a school in the Ridgewood area. If you are traveling east on Cass Street and you get to Walnut Street, there will be a cemetery on your right-hand side. And if you turn left on Walnut and go up the hill, you'll see a park. And that is Ridgewood Park today. But before the park was there was a school there, and this was that school. Before the school was there was a cemetery in that location. So the cemetery was cleared out. What was there was moved to the cemetery down the hill, and then Ridgewood School was built. Obviously, it was torn down as it no longer exists there. Now, this is Roosevelt School, and this is not a good picture. This school stood next to, from everything that I have seen, the Central School, which was the first high school. When that became a junior high, this became a grade school. And I've mentioned Cedar Sanchez School. A friend of mine that taught there suggests that this is the largest school in District 86. This is actually a picture from one of their pamphlets, um, one of their marketing pamphlets, but it is a rather large school right next to Hagee Park. Skipped one there. Back to Sheridan School. This is one of those ornate buildings that looks like it was made out of the same materials as all the other schools. Sheridan School is very near Market Street. This version of the school, the original, was torn down, and there was another one built in its place. That structure is still there. I do not have a picture of it. It is being used as storage for District 86. So there are fences around it. Okay, this is Isaac Singleton School, one of the newer schools, but not new, but one of the newer schools in District 86. And this is Taft School. This is on Ingalls Avenue. And then we have Lynn Thigpen School, which is by Dirksen for the elementary school kids. And then we have Thompson School, which is a school that is on Rowell Avenue. It is the one that supposedly replaced the Babylon schools or school. It is named for J.M. Thompson, who established the Joliet grade school band. And today it's being used as an alternate school. It was built with salvaged material from the Moran School and the Henderson School. And here we have Washington Junior High School, which is a large school. At one time, it housed junior high and elementary students. There was a fire there that destroyed much of the school. The school was rebuilt and back to its former beauty. This is likely the worst picture that has ever been taken of a school. Yes, I took it. I have to get back over there and take a picture that tells more of what the school is really like. But it's a modern school. It had a school previous to that, which again was one of the ornate schools. I do not have a picture of that, but at some point in time, we'll find one that I can use. And this is a picture of the District 86 offices. This is the JFK Administrative Center. This is on Rainer Avenue. It replaced the old school district offices, which were on Joliet Street, downtown Joliet. And if anybody knows where I can find pictures of Irving School or Henderson Street School, McKinley Park School, or once again, the old Woodland School, please contact me at the number that I will show you so that I can get these added to this presentation. If you have any of that information, this is my name. That should be 815-846-3130. And my email address is adrilling@jolietlibrary.org. And that brings us to the end of the second installment of this program. Tune in next month for another addition to the series, and keep watching the calendar on the Joliet Public Library webpage for other really excellent programs that we have planned coming up in the next month. See you next month.